my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
You know, after looking at that presentation yesterday, this looks a lot like that WebDen Pro.
Yes. WebDrive also, it has got the context sync. Even the PI also I have seen, like, the context building, and there only we make all the rules and all the conversions. And these days everything looks like in the background wherever the context appears in Adobe Forms or WebDrive Pros or the PI. Everything is XML data flow.
PRF Plus is also like this.
The XML is going to be the main data carrier.
How come you don't use SE80?
Sorry. SE80. Sorry, you're asking about SE80?
Well, I'm just asking why you don't use SE80 versus SE38.
Yeah, this has become habitual.
Oh, I used to be that way too, but I stopped.
Yeah, that's good, SE80. But and we can access SE38 little faster than SE80. That's where.
He's good in SE80 every time.
Shall we start then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead and start.
And today I'll start with the print program and the parameters. Let me show this one. I just created a test program. I'm giving a sales order number. Now this is what I just created. I'll redo the same thing in the demo. I took a sold to party, and this is an address, and this is a sales document header information, and I took the same document number into the barcodes, and ship to party is one more address, and Sigma Aldrich logo, and this is nothing but the sales order header text, and the item data is being floating across different pages. And at the end of thing, I have added something like terms and conditions and a different orientation. I mean, the previous thing is a portrait, and this is a landscape. I'll redo the same thing, and I'll show one by one. So that I'll start with the print program today first. Simply a parameter, and then I created 3 structures to pass for the interface. And these are some data declarations for the Adobe form call. And I did some select statement. For time being, you ignore this one because I have got only one item, and then I have repeatedly added 25 more items. And if you look at this statement, this is where the form processing starts. And as we know, with the smart forms, we do have a SSF underscore function model name. And the same way, Adobe also got the same thing. And the thing is, whenever we activate the Adobe forms, it generates a function module. And that's where we have to pass the Adobe form name, and that's where we get the generated function module name. And this entire code is there in the FP underscore test underscore 03. If you want a sample, or you can refer to my test program. And once we get the function model name into FM underscore name, we have to call the form. I think 1 minute. Somewhere I have missed the form.
Yeah.
1 minute, please. Okay. Sorry. This is where we got the function model name, and then there are 3 parameters. For the job open, we have to pass the output parameters. Is that just a preview, or there are some more parameters? I'll explain that in detail. And as we know with the smart forms, scripts, even in Adobe Forms also, we have to start the spool job. In smart form also we do have, but we don't use it usually. But Adobe Forms and the SAP script, this is very much required to open the job first. So this actually initiates the form processing. Adobe, it actually starts starts using the ADS services, Adobe Document Services, and for that we have to start with this. And this is going to be the start of the spool. And once we open and close one job, that is going to be one spool from the beginning of just like a script, open form and end form. And once we start the open job, then we call the function module and we pass the variables. Suppose if we have to do mass processing, we will be doing the same thing in a loop, just like loop, and then end of this one we do end loop. This is how usually we do for mass processing. We loop at the data records and we'll issue different prints. And once the Adobe Adobe job is done, we use a close job. 1 minute, Brian.
Show the loop again. What are you looping through?
Jim, he was just talking about if there's multiple processing for some reason, if you're going to do multiple things that you want to go through.
I'll show. Suppose we got we got many accounting documents. Suppose loop at T underscore big APF and end loop, and here we will be issuing different documents. Then this point of time we have to call our call function, this statement. This point of time we call FP underscore job open. Once we repeatedly call the printing, then at the end of the all the records we call the FB underscore job underscore close.
I see. That's if you're going to do multiple documents.
Yes, exactly. I mean that is meant for the mass processing. If it is simply sales order or invoice, we don't have to do that. like repeating same thing. But thing is, once we start the loop in between the open and the close, that is going to be one spool. So if you want different spools, we have to start the job again. And this is something sample code for error processing. If any error happens, that's all. This is the main template for processing the Adobe forms. Get the data and get the function module name. Get the function module name and open the job and call the function module just like we do for the smart forms, and then close the job once it is done.
Hey, Praveen, would you please keep that program available for us to review at a later date? I mean, don't erase it or delete it.
Sure.
Thank
And
you.
we do have the standard test programs as well. FP_test_03. Oh my God, this system is a little slow. Yesterday, the system is stuck. Looks so. Okay. So what I mean here is, I have created 3 structures. One is for the sales order header. This is a structure. I mean, GS stands for global structure, and the GT stands for global table. And these are the partner functions to display the sold to party address or the ship to party address. And this is for item details, and this is for the header. Now I'll be creating interface with I'm using the dictionary interface and saving to a local. And as you know, the default parameter, one gets added here, the document parameters. As I told yesterday, what language it is, what locale we want, and what are the replacement languages we want. These are all we pass it here. But whereas for the FP_job_open, we will pass whether it is a preview or we want a new spool. Let me show up that. FP output parameters. Here we pass all the spool starting parameters for the spool setup. Whether it is a what device it is, what if you want a preview, and one more thing, get PDF. Using this parameter, we can get the same Adobe form in a data format for mailing and all as attachment. We can use by this flag and get a PDL document. This is one type of data stream, and XML is one more data stream. We can get respective the data streams and for later use. Request new. We all know we are using the forms, scripts, and smart forms. I'll go back, and once we pass the get PDF or something, at the time of job close, we will have the results. We will have the results. If SFP_job_output, here we will get the form data. 1 minute, if I am not mistaken. Sorry, not here. we'll be getting at this point. Here, here we got a form output. Here we'll get the PDF data streams, XML data streams, or PDL data streams. Let me show up here only. In the export parameters, we will have a form output. Let me go here. See here, we get the PDF data in a raw string format and the PDL and the XML formats like so. So later on, if one wants to see a preview, one can do that. So, or one wants to fax it or email it, they can use this raw format. Let me go to change. Sorry, we're already in change mode. Something went wrong. 1 minute. Yeah, import parameters. In the import parameters, in the print program, we have seen two structures, one structure and then two tables created. Let me just add them. I'm using s_VBAK, type VBAK, and I'm adding one more. These are optional flag and pass by value. T_VBAP, type TT_VBAP, and add one more. T_VBPA, type TT_VBPA. So the import parameters will have these three parameters, and we will be passing these three parameters in the print program. So our job is done. And the global data, if you want to declare any global fields or something at the interface level, we can do them so. In the smart forms, just like smart forms, we can do our customized calculations in the print program, and as well in the smart form interface also we can do so. And the same way in Adobe Forms also we can do at the print program level and at the interface level. So we can add global variables and code installation section we can do, and form routines we can write our own forms as well. And these are the two places. And here in Adobe Forms we got one more chance. Like once we go to the Adobe layer, there also we can make a connection back to SAP system using the Java Connect or something, and we can fetch some more details from the backend system. That is one more possibility, but we don't. That is not required much until and unless someone is working with web services, and at later point they want some dynamic information. Like that is for a later use. So for now, I'm activating my interface. My interface is done, and I'll be using for my form. I'll go back and I'll create the form. Create, and it asks for the this time it asks what interface to use. As I told yesterday, interfaces are reusable components for many forms. We can use for for country specific things. I'm saving it to a local object. Now the left panel is nothing but whatever the interface is having. It will give an error. Okay, ignore it. Timing. The left side will have all the import parameters that we just added now, and the system fields. And if you look at right side, see, this is a empty folder now. We will have to add the folders or graphics, addresses, text, structures, tables, alternatives. So let me first add one folder. Let me name it as a header. Okay, and I'll drag and drop 2 fields into this one for time being. When is the sales order created, and who has created, and let me drag entire structure into the root folder. So we got entire structure into the context, but we don't need all the fields. What I prefer, select all the fields and simply go for deactivate. So all fields gets deactivated. Then select by pressing the control, select whatever all the required fields. So for me, I need web element and customer, and customers purchase order, BSTNK. Did I miss it? Stop me when you find it. BSTNK.
Purchase order.
Yes. Customers purchase order.
Can't find controllers.
Yeah, we can find so.
Good. Down.
BSTNK.
Down.
That is key text.
Yes.
You can use that find feature there, can't you?
Yes, we can do so. But I'm holding the control button. That's where set to activate. Okay. Now I have activated 3 fields. Now my next task is get the item data. Here as well, as I told yesterday, for table type it will have a built work area. Here as well, I'll select all the fields and deactivate first. Item, material, and I'll select net value and the currency, and the cumulative quantity and the sales unit, and set to active. Okay. Now if you see here, whatever are activated, those fields only will be passed to the Adobe interface. I think someone has to mute it. I'm hearing the echo. Okay. I still hear the echo. Okay. And the third one, what I do is next, go to the header and let me create an address. I don't want address at this point of time. I'll go for creating the text. So I'm selecting one header text. I know that my all text names will be sales order number, so that's where I'm dragging and dropping it here. And my object would be VBVK, I'm sure. And if you want it, we can just like for sales document we did it, we can pass this information dynamically through fields, and we can call those texts. And the text ID, I'll be using 002. This is nothing but a header note, and the language, we do have a A4 option. You can select, for now I'm taking the English, and as I told yesterday, remember to select the checkbox. If text is not available, it won't dump. If you select this one, I'm saving it. And next, addresses. I want to display sales sold to party address and as well ship to party address. So I'll be needing a single record. Create a single record. It asks for the table name. So that the base table is T_VBPA, and now let me name this as a AG, nothing but a sales or sold to party, and I'll be entering the keys. And for me, I'll be needing a partner function. Equal to AG. So as we are dealing with only one sales order, and we'll have one partner, one sold to party, and they'll be there, for item level also there, but we'll have only one at the header. That's why I'm simply taking the one. And one more, as I told before, let's deactivate, or else unnecessary data passage to the Adobe layer. Let me select the partner function, Kunal, and the address number, and let me activate. So whatever we have created, by specifying the key, this record will only hold the sold to party information. And in the same way, let's copy the same thing, and we'll do the same thing for the ship to party. And let me, by clicking context menu, I have selected a copy, and I'm doing paste again.
Change.
Yeah, I do that. So by default, one is added. Let's take WE, and the key condition to WE. W is nothing but the ship to party. For now, we have created a text, and we have created 1 minute. We are supposed to create one more address. Let me create an address under the same single record. So the address number we have to copy. See, what I did here is I created the address node under the sold to party single record. I'm naming it address underscore AG. So here what I do is I simply drag and drop the AGs. 1 minute. Yes. We created the address node for the sold to party, and as well I do the same thing for ship to party as well. Select the respective node and create a address node, and let's name this as address underscore WE, and we again drag and drop the ship to party address. So for now, we are able to see, how do we create a individual fields and a single structure and a table type and a single records and creating the address nodes. We have created an address node here. This is all, 90% of the cases we'll be using that. And the thing is, this point of time, we cannot activate it. The reason is that, the layout is not defined yet. If we display the errors, could be something. 1 minute, sorry. That is not the layout not created. Okay. Okay. In the beginning, when I started creating the form, my root node was having nothing. That's where, when activated, that was giving an error saying that, no nodes are available for the root node. And the error what we see is, for address, there are some mandatory fields. It needs the sending country as a mandatory field. For now, I'm saying in. And the same way for ship to party also I do the same thing. Sending country is mandated because for address formatting. Suppose if it is within US and within the domestic, one don't need to print the country name specifically. This is because of SAP internal address formatting.
No, but the print program you can send it to
That time we can do so, but there are that time we might have ignored it. But this is very much like we have to specify them.
No, really it's coming from mandatory parameter. Something is true for all the countries. You cannot use this address.
No text, no style, no layouts, no version language. 1 minute, let me go back to the text node. It has some problem.
Yes, probably.
No, the system has taken internally the EN. Okay, let me activate it and let me read out the error again. Okay, let me name it. Okay, then this point of time, this is issuing the error now. I was just telling before, no layout exists for the language. The layout is not created, and that's where I'm not able to activate it. Let's save this first. So far at the context level, we have created the addresses and text, and the graphics. I'm not creating this point of time. I'll create them. We can create address node here itself. Let me try, but graphic reference. We'll have to pass the URL here. I don't have a F4 function. Let's select the content. the thing is, the graphic I have not used at the context level. I have used at the layout level only while designing the one. And here, I don't know, for some reason, I have not looked much into this one. What the reason is, but I have not used at the context level for designing the graphics and all. And now I'm switching to the layout. So far, we are switching from Adobe layer, ABAP layer to the Adobe layer now. So whatever we created as a context, we'll see them in the data view of the form. Let's see here. We created a header as a folder and these 3 fields, and this is nothing but the text and the structure, and the PVBAP is a table, and this is a single record. This is again a single record. Now let me go to the master page. Let me close this one for time being. If we look at the hierarchy here, we will see from how it is, the fields are added onto the form. The previous one we have seen on the context, and this one is for the page designing. Here if you see, by default, one master page is created with the name page 1. I'll rename to master 1, and by default, one content area is created. I'll rename it to content area 1, and my content area is now fully occupied the master page, so I'm reducing it little to accommodate my document header and all. So master page is created. By default, one body page is also created. I'm renaming it to body page 1. So the body page, as I said, this will remain only in the content area. We cannot, once we click on the master page, then only, we can work with the master page by selecting the respective master page. Suppose you have multiple master pages, I have to select them. But 99% of the cases, we will not have a multiple master pages.
Body page is again a master page?
Body page, this is a design page. Whereas a master page is nothing but a template for the entire form. Under the master page, we'll be creating different body pages. We can create one more page as well. Let me show how can we design master page first. So on my master page, I first want to put my document number and the customer's PO number, like so. And yesterday I was telling go to the palettes and get the object directory and get the respective fields and all. This is one way, and as well using by selecting master page, we can go, and in the insert we do have a different this is one way of doing, that is one way of doing it. This is another way of doing it. We can select the respective fields here itself. The barcodes, everything we can select it from here. Let me first select the image field, the image, and if I have to see the object properties, I have to select the the object one. Then I'll see the properties. See here we have to pass the URL, and this is one warning. Usually we get it. This is trying to read the SAP systems one of the directory, and this is always we'll get the same error again and again. But I've ignored it for some reason. Now the Sigma logo is added. Whatever I selected, I am clicking on embed so that the content will be embedded to the form. Now I'm using the versional size, and if you want respect to this thing, we can use them. I'm using the original size, and the logo is done. If we go to preview, we can see how the logo appears. Let me go back to my master page, and here next thing is I want to add one more text field, and this is one way of doing it. And the other way is, instead of creating a text fields again and again, we can simply go and select the respective folder and drag and drop it over here. Yes, we have dragged it. We have dragged it. And let me go back to the hierarchy again. See, if you look at the hierarchy in my master page, I do have a content area. I do have one image for the Sigma logo. And I do have one more this thing. Here, yesterday I was talking to you, right? Subforms. Subforms usually we use for grouping the elements. And by default, subform comes when you drag and drop, for a group of elements. The subform, as I told yesterday, we can do a positioning, and for my requirement, I'm using a float and top to bottom or Western text. For my use, I'm using a float, and I'm keeping it to the right side of the form. And then what I do is I go to my logo is done, adding the fields is done, and now I'll be adding a
Hang on. Hey, Praveen.
Yes.
What does float mean again?
Float means as the fields are there, it flows from top to bottom or left to right.
Okay. And then the purchase order has that plus sign, and I know that's because there's not enough space for the entire content to work. So what would happen? What would happen if it's like 40 positions and there's not enough room? Will it wrap or just cut off?
It will cut off.
Okay.
It will cut off.
All right. Thank you.
It will cut off. And what I do is, I'll one option we do have is, if you want to cut off that, the requirement is like that, we can do. Or I have selected the purchase order. I've selected the purchase order. I'm going into the object, and there is a layout as well. In the layout, we can see different options: width, expand to fit. Suppose if the data is 40 characters, but I do have a space only to display 10 characters, as I have selected a width, auto expand to fit. The fields get extended. And the better choice, extend the subform itself and the respective fields as it's needed, so that it gives a good look, and no data will get we will have a wrong impact later point. We will we can overcome all those issues. Still, this is a place, but let me save like this itself. And for every text field, when we go to here, we will have a expand to fit, height also expand to fit, and every text field will have allow multiple lines. These are the key properties. Suppose my address is also text field only in the back by default. So if I use multiple lines, what happens? My address will have 5 lines or 6 lines. If I don't use allow multiple lines, only first line gets displayed and rest of them get suppressed. And this is again same for standard text as well. If we don't select allow multiple lines, it displays only the very first line, what it can accommodate, and rest of the things gets suppressed. So for addresses, wherever is possible, better select the allow multiple lines. And as well, this height also, if we come here, I'll give a height as a 2 centimeters, 2 inches. But thing is, I do have only data for only one line. The rest of the space gets wasted. That's where, we can use expand to fit. And one more thing. Here, what we see, we are dealing with the measurement, inches. We can shift them to centimeters as well. And let me see where exactly I can do that. If you come to the palettes and the drawing aids, here, the default one is the inches. For this form, I want to use the centimeters. I can select that. I'm repeating it again. The thing is, now we are at the, units at the centimeters. To design my layout, we can go to palettes and there is a drawing aids. In the drawing aids, we can change our this thing to millimeters or the points or the centimeters. Now I'm shifting to, centimeters. Okay. Now I'm done.
What can you do with that purchase order number so you don't have to figure out how big it's got to be? Can you just have it do it automatically so it fits in there?
Yes. If we use the layout, the width, expand to fit, the fields get extended. But we have at the design time itself, we know that this is possible. This much space. Better we leave that much space as needed, or else what happens is that goes out of the boundary. Again, we don't see that information.
See, it says, go back to that again, that object. It said max characters 20.
Yes. The max characters is 20.
Is that what's...
Yes. This has come from the dictionary reference. If you look at sales document, the max characters is 10. In the PO date, this is again, that will be 10 around. It has come from the dictionary. Limit length. Yeah, there is one more field. We can ignore that. Limit length to 20 characters only. This is one more attribute we got for the text fields.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
And,
I wouldn't think on a form like this it's going to a customer that you want to truncate their purchase order number.
Yes, but that purchase order number is by default is 35 length. If it is required, better we leave. See, this point of time, what I suggest, go for the allow multiple, and on the layout, and don't do the width, do the height. So that if the customer's purchase order is more, then that straight away comes to second line. Instead of going beyond the boundary of the form.
That's going to look like hell.
Yeah, this is only design time, and we are very much flexible. Like what I suggest, here we have got one more this thing, the default. We can pass it over. Let me put ABCD. $20 characters, 30, and A, B, C, D, E. There are 35 characters now. See, this is how it appears. So here in the value tab, we can provide a default. This is how usually I have done before.
Just to test it.
Yep.
How much?
Yes. You got me. This is one possible that we can test the maximum characters, how it fits. And here we can design accordingly. And for now I'm building the default value. Okay, got it? Now let me, sorry, right side, because I might have selected a particular field. Might have selected not to width or height something. That's where that is going. Okay, let me redo it again. I'll
It's
simply.
coming from somewhere that you are not it will come.
Okay, could be some other reason.
Yeah.
So I'm selecting the particular subform and I'm doing it a float, and I want the information to be top to bottom, and this field we can limit. Okay, limit length to this thing. We can remove it, and width will do that. And at the same time, the thing is, we are allowing the purchase order to expand to fit, and at the same time, my subform also should be having the auto fit, or else what happens, it won't fit. The parent element should also have the auto fit attribute. Okay. Now what I do is I go with the sold to party address. Let me select let me drag and drop. This is again text field. As I told, addresses will have multiple lines. I'm selecting the allow multiple lines, and coming to the layout, the width and the height, I'm allowing to expand to fit. This is one, and here I want the sold to party, the caption to be on the top. So on the layout tab, I'll choose that as a top, and here the thing is, here we can, by double clicking on that and selecting, and we can make sold to party, or we can go here and we'll have the caption here, sold to party. There are two ways, one can change the caption, and as I said, this is a sunken box. So on the preview, we will see the address in a box, but I don't want that. I'll simply appearance to be none, so that nothing appears. And if we want that to be underlined or something, we can select that particular line, and let me select the font palette here, selecting the underline, and if I want it bold, I can select the bold, and whatever the selected one, that will have that effect. If you want for the entire this thing, select the entire this thing, and select the bold, underline, or anything. Let's go and see here. The sold to party is like this now. So now we are done. So address, that is how the address looks. And let me select the barcode now for the document number. Enter a barcode. I'm selecting a code 128 barcode. Here I have to bind it. In the object properties, we got the binding tab. You go here, and you can assign the sales document. So the thing is, I'll show one of the variable. See, if you look at here, the document number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 is embedded below. We got two more options: embed on the above, or if we don't want it, nothing can be shown, or if you want it on the above, we can make it completely on top of the barcode. Sorry. Yes. I want the below one. And I think we have binded this to the web balance. Okay, we are good. And what else is pending? Now the header text. See, I forgot to tell you one thing. Coming to the A4 size or A4, A3 letter or something, on the master page, once we select it, and the body pages also will have the same thing. We will have a paper type. What is the paper type? A4, like so. Let me select the A4, and the orientation also we can select it here. And this master page occurrences we can restrict to minimum count once. Means once we specify this master page occurrence only once, means it occurs only once. And rest of the cases it flows to the rest of the pages, the data.
Paper.
This is not a ESPN.
I'm sorry. Is there a layout that would work for both A4 and letter?
Yes. Yes.
Do you know which one that would be?
If I take my previous example, I have taken different orientations. One is a portrait.
No. What I'm getting at is I don't want to have a different layout or a different paper type.
Orientation.
No, I'm talking about paper.
Not orientation.
Paper type only.
Okay, paper type.
Do a drop down your paper type if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Nope.
Let me go to my form, and here I did the orientation shift for my next page. I'll see. 1 minute. It takes a little time. See, for my this thing, the object, for the first one I have taken the A4, and the second one also A4, but the orientation is shifting. Let me select this thing to letter.
Now I want one that's both letter and A4 together. That can be used for both. What's your choices?
A4, A4.
Hang on. Drop down on the paper type,
A4,
please.
A4.
Hang on. Drop down on the paper type. Just hold still there. So you can create a custom one.
Yes, we can create a custom one, and yeah, we can do that too.
Is there one called like 11-inch?
Yeah, we can do that. So, but the printer should be supporting that.
No, I understand.
I remember I have done the custom thing for the labels.
Okay, go ahead. Continue. Sorry. Actually, you want to take a break for 5 minutes for everybody?
Fine.
Okay. So guys, it's 7 o'clock now, and we'll start back up in 5 minutes. Let everybody get a coffee or go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Thanks.
So for now we have seen the barcodes and the address. How do we do it? Now I simply what I do, activate this one. Oh my god, this is a wrong form.
Yes.
Okay, this is a wrong form. This is my previous one. Sorry, this takes some time. I will activate my layout. And to my print program, as I'm using the same interface and all, I'll simply switch the form name to Y demo. Okay. Activate it again, and I run this now. And before running this one, what I do, I'll go to the settings, because I don't have to run it again and again, because I'll have the same data. I simply do the detail trace, and I'll run the program. And I give a sales order. Go for preview. This is how it looks. The sold to party and the address being print, the logo, and the header information, and as well the barcode. As I said, I have activated for very detailed trace, and I'll be taking the data file. Here it is, and I'll save it as an attachment. I'll save this attachment to my test, this thing, y demo test, this thing. I'm saving it to my folder, and I go to, so this is how the form looks. And I don't have item data now, as I have not designed it. And let me go to the layout, and I'll pass my data file for preview. I'll select the data file what I have saved. This is the one. Run it out, and click on OK. And if I select on preview now, I will see the same information as we have seen in the original preview. This is the same information is available here because the data file is with us now. So we can play, without having to, run the program again. So I'll go here, and what is my next task is I'll go to my, I remove the barcode. Okay, this is my barcode is here. I'll simply drag and drop this to my body page. Sorry, let me redo it. My body page again, I have to design it again, the pagination and how it is. My body page information should be flowed from top to bottom as I design it. So for my body page again, I'll go and I do auto height and auto width. And my next task is adding a address. What I do here is we have got a header text. First let me add the header text to the body page immediately after the barcode. For the barcode, this is just as a text field. So we have to enable the minimum attributes, allow multiple lines, and go to the layout and expand to fit and expand to height. And I don't want the caption for it. I say caption no, and I don't want any appearance properties. So appearance I'll make it to none. And here as well in the layout we have seen width and height. Width, height and all, and as well for every field we will have a left margin, right margin and all. I'm looking for 0.3 centimeter top margin and as well 0.3 centimeter bottom margin, so that it maintains the data, the margins for the field. So here, as we dragged and dropped, the binding will be there by default. I'll go to the preview now. Let me see how it looks. If you see here, this was my header text. Let me go to the sales order, VA03. Go to header and the text, and we have chosen the text, this one. So the same text is being displayed in the preview. The text too comes from here, this entire section. So this is how we get the standard text or application text into the form. So now we are done with the text. How do we get it? And let me put one more address for testing again. We are done with the sold to party, and let me get the ship to party address, and let me name it to as we dragged and dropped, we'll get the default binding. If we see here, and you can see now, see the address is completely suppressed. The reason is that we have not selected for allow multiple lines. Let me select the allow multiple lines, and let's go to the preview. Sorry, something wrong. And the layout, height, auto height. Yes, we have done allow multiple lines, and as well auto height. So that's where we can see the ship to party full address now here. This is how we see. And the top logo and the sold to party and this information is part of the master page, and these three information is part of the body page. And let's do one thing now. Let's drag and drop the table, complete the item information. This is this is a quick way of getting the table formats into this one. Simply drag and drop as just like text field or any other field. Let's see how it appears. If you see here, this is how it looks. The page flow is also happening. Now we are on the page 2 of 2. This is a simple way of doing the tables. But in most of the cases we may be needing our custom appearance and logic. So that's where I'll do little modifications here. What I did is I simply delete this node, and I'll do it now. See, as I told yesterday, we'll be using the subform, and we will be adding the captions, and we will be adding the fields individually. So what I do is here, go to insert and standard and take a subform. We got the subform now. I'll name it as item underscore header, and I'll take one more subform. I'll name it as see, by default this has come into as a child node of the item header. I don't want that one. We can shift it to any other page by simply drag and drop. Here we'll see the levels where we are dragging and dropping. Item values. Okay. Now what I do, item header is nothing but captions. I'll be needing the captions means item material, those descriptions. So I simply do, I'll take two fields for example. Item number, and I'll take one more field. Material. I'm taking two fields. These are only just captions. Let me select them, and this is a subform. As we know, for subforms, we have to little operate with them. I want the item header to be flowed, and from left to right. Left to right, this is named as a Western text. If you see here, one. Now I'll name it as an item number, and I'll name the other one as a material. They're done. And at the same time, for the item values, what we need, we have to get two text fields. Text nothing but a label, and text field is nothing but a variable. And I'll get one more text field. So we got two text fields now. Let me name them as val underscore item number. Material. And the thing is, this is going to be the header for me, and this is going to be the work areas for me. This has this subform as well. I want it to be flowed, and floating left to right, this format. But let me see whether this has got a auto width. Yes. My layout has got a item width auto fit. Let me select these two again. Let me do little this thing. I don't want captions. Let me go here and select no captions, and I don't want any appearances for this as well. Selecting no, and here I may be needing little borders to display my this thing. Left, we can we got a left border, right border, top border, bottom border. We can work with them individually, or we can work with them together. So now I'm selecting that together, and then I'm putting it solid. So once we go here, let's see how it appears. See, this is the item number and the material, and the respective fields, it appears like this. So what I do is this field and this field, I want to be same width. So what I do is I'll select them as a 2 centimeter. They both are in sync. I select this one and this one. This is up to us. How do we manage creating the layout? And as well, this item number and this one as well, I want the borders. So I'm selecting a solid, and we do have one more thing. How do you want the background color? I'm selecting the solid, and I do want to print them, light yellow color. So I can see them the light yellow manner. 1 minute, I'm correcting the other one. Yes. We do see item number and one. But the values are not binded, so that's where we are not seeing the values over here. The thing is, this one and this one, or 1 minute. This is again out of it. Okay. This and this. These two subforms I'm putting into wrapping into another subform. I'll name that as items. The reason I tell you, items is my main items flowing across. This is a table, whereas this item nothing but this is just like my items table, and whereas this is going to be the captions for the my item display, and whereas my item values are nothing but my items work area. Got me? Work area. So this is item table, and the below one is my item header, and this is my item work area. So what I want, I want every item, to flow from top to bottom. My item header has to flow from top to bottom, and work area is also record by record. It has to flow top to bottom. So I have to select the respective subform, and I'll be selecting the pagination to be flowed, and as well top to bottom. And whereas item, these two fields have to be follow left to right, and that's where I have selected the Western text. And as well, for work area also, I want my fields to be left to right, and that's where I have selected the Western text. And whereas for my work area, I don't want a split in between, so that's where one record should be displayed into one line. I don't want a split. And as well for my header also, I don't want a split. But whereas coming to my table, if it has a 50 records, it definitely has to go for multiple pages, and the data has to split across the pages. So I have to set this one in between. Let's see. It won't come. Yep, it won't come. Now the thing is, we got item work area, and there is one more property, binding or layout. Yeah, binding. And for item data, there is a one thing. My item work area, right? This has to be repeated for each item. This has to be repeated for each item. My minimum count is 1. And as well, my table also, we don't need it. I think the data should be appearing now, if I'm correct. Oh my God. Let me put the same thing again. For table also, let's put this one. Yeah, the binding is already there. Thing is already there. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. The binding didn't happen because I just manually created this one. See, let me select the item table first and go to the binding one. See, here we do see two different things. T_VBAP is appearing twice. One stands for the main table, and one stands for to go to the work area. So for the items table, I want the main table. That's where I'm selecting T_VBAP, and whereas I'll select the work area, and this point of time I'll bind this subform to the data is nothing but a work area for the T_VBAP. I'm selecting that one, and for the values, and I have to select the respective fields. Select the item number and go to VBAP and go to the work area and select the postner. The postner is mapped, and it is asking for some character. Yes, the name is changed again. Let me select the material and go to VBAP and select this one and select the map. Okay, now let's try. Okay, the binding happened, and the data. If you look at here, the data is floating across, but the header, item number, and the material, whatever you see here, the data is only flowed across, but the header is not carried forward to the second page. So for subforms, this is my main item table, and to this one we have to specify the overflow leader and the overflow trials. Remember, overflow header and the overflow trial. I'll show where exactly we see that in the pagination tab. See, we are sure that my item data gets split into multiple pages, and for every page, I would be needing the headers, column headers. So select the table and select the overflow leader. Suppose if you want the headers to be on, for every item, we'll select here. Suppose in some cases we may need the subtotals as well, so that we have to use the overflow trailer. So at this point of time, I need the item header as a overflow leader, and let's see how it appears. Yes, there is a little technical problem, I think, and on top of item, material is overwritten, but the values are coming up here. Yeah, there is a technical problem, but this is how we do it. Displaying the header and the item details. Let me activate this one. Everyone understood this one, or you want me to redo it again? However, I'll repeat the same thing once again.
Praveen, this is Rich. I've got a question for you.
Okay.
If you, like in your first time through, you pulled in the whole table,
Yes.
so that it put everything across, can you, since that would be quicker to do that because it does the binding automatically, once you pull everything in, can you then, say, move the quantity from where it is to right after the material number? Can you move the fields around, the columns around?
We can do that. So, but that is again just like an Excel sheet. We have to be very careful while doing that. Let me do the same thing. Let me drag and drop this one into the layout. See, once we drag and drop, here we got a. Okay, let me close the rest of them. One minute, please. Yes, here it is. See, this is the overflow leader, and this is the data section, and here we got some options like insert the column to left, insert column to right, rows above. There are little few options, but 50% of the cases we can go by this one, and whatever I have done using the subform concept. As I needed little flexibility, adding a field, removing a field, again this is a little challenging. At the time of design itself, we are very sure what many fields we needed, then we can go ahead with the drag and drop table. And if you want, any additions or deletions, and we may, struck up with issues.
Right. Yeah,
That is
what I'm saying
is,
is I'd want all those fields, but I'd want to move them around the way they appear on there.
Yes, I think we can do that. So it's a column.
Say you would have item, the material, and then next you would want order quantity before you had the value.
Sorry, Rich. You want the fields to left and right?
Right. You have item, and then you have material.
Yes.
And then next it says value, but instead of value, you'd want to move order quantity down there instead.
Yeah, got it. You're asking me to shift the fields left and right, right? Left and right, to move from second position to the fifth position, fifth position to the second position, like so.
Yes.
I think
We can do that.
we at the time of context design, better we do that. That is, the quick this thing. But here, having had little experience, I've seen it difficult.
No, we can do that. Once with the subform property,
No, not
go to
subform.
the go to the change the layout type position, and then you can change the position of all the objects. That's it. Go ahead.
Which one? Here.
This one, this the item material new net value currency is coming into one
Yes.
subform, right? Change the layout type subform type flow
Okay.
to positions,
Okay.
and then change
This
the
one. You mean this one?
yeah
No. This
object layout. Click on the layout.
layout. This is a table type. We don't get all these options.
Okay, so you can wrap this into one subform.
No. That will again. You mean like select all of them and
Yeah,
right
wrap in
click
a
and
subform.
wrap into subform. We don't get that option. We won't get that option here because this is a default.
Okay.
This is a default and everything. Little flexibility is there here. I have seen add a columns to the left and right. Let's try that. Let's try that one. But I'm not sure.
New columns and new rows. Can you select all this and try to wrap in a subform? Can you select all 5
Hmm.
and wrap in a subform?
Yeah, Rich. What I suggest now, for now, I have experienced difficulties in doing them so, and for the quickest way, what I suggest now, doing at a context level is easier. Doing at a context level is easier because the interface, there is a reusable component. Suppose for Russia, we want in a different field sequence. For India, we want a different this thing. For US, we want a different this thing. Everything is possible. At the time of context design, because context, the form layouts are specific to the respective regions or the languages, and whereas the interface is common. So we can do them at the interface level. So the context level. So that it is up to us. If we do it context level, that is very
So do it at the
we can
context
develop
level.
the form in a less time.
So do it before you get to the layout.
Yes.
Okay.
Here. Let me show up here. So we do have some fields here. Oh my God. Oh my God. It is going for toss. Okay, I'm taking my this thing back. This is not happening here. No, this is not happening here. Let me try at other point. Rich, sorry for that. I'm not able to do that.
Okay.
It-
That's just something I can get in there and play around and see what I can do.
Yeah, exactly. Because I tried, sometimes initially I thought of, I'll get with this way, I'll go,
Hello?
everything go easy. But then, later point, I have seen many difficulties. I have lost all the development. I had to do the subform thing again. Oh, there are many options here and there, but see, as long as it is a standard, then we can simply drag and drop it
Sure.
by activating and deactivating them. And
You just build your own
So-
structure, right, Rich, and then when it comes
Yeah.
over, it'll be in
I imagine there's lots of ways of doing
Yes.
it. So.
Yes, at the time of defining the structures, but these dictionary types, but I don't think we'll be using any G types. But forms, I think we may have little exceptions because these are only not the tables, only structures. No, the thing is, if we can manage at the layout level with having the subforms, that is a good idea, and than going for creating a G structures for our flexibility. But thing is, however, one or the other way, we will definitely have to learn and use the subform concept. And if you see here, the page itself is again a subform. I'll show this one. We do have a page here, right? The page itself is again a subform. So the page is again, a collection of different elements. This is how it looks. Let me delete this one. So we are able to get the logos, the barcodes, addresses, text, standard text and application text, and the table information. We are good. And what I show you now, creating a different page for terms and conditions. Suppose let me create one more master page. Insert a new master page. Where is that? Where is the one? Oh, sorry. Yes, page 1.
Would you be able in the same form to say, if this is Russia, print this page, if it's English, print this page?
No.
Something like that.
It is, again, just like a smart forms, we have to use the translation tool.
Okay.
Translation tool. Let me, let me say this is a master 2, and the content area is again 2. So I got this one, and I got a master 2 and the content area 2, and I'll create one more page. Insert a new page. I'll name this as a terms. Okay, this is again a different page. Okay. I have created the master 2 for the for the terms page, and this content also I'll name it as a underscore terms. So my page has got this one, and my master page, as Brian was pointing, we can use a different paper as well. Let me try the letter, and I want this to be a landscape format. That's it. And what I do is, for my previous my body page, if I go to the pagination tab, my default is place it into following the previous place into the body page can be placed into different master pages and different content areas. First one is the content area 1. If we want this body page to be fit into content area terms, we can do that. So if you look at the preview now, my master page 1 is gone. We are on the master page 2. 1 minute. Let me. 1 minute. I'm missing somewhere. The filling the previous, by default it comes, and let me design a text field into this one, and so that I can put terms and conditions. Let me remove all other properties, captions and all. No, none. And this is again a page is again a subform, so that it will have again the positioning and everything. I'm saying it as a float, top to bottom. And the pagination, I can place this into different page. I want to put it into master underscore terms. Where am I? Let me write something here so that sorry, these two are copied into here this page. Sorry for okay. This one. 1 minute, I'm little editing this one. By mistake, these two elements have been added to my terms page. That's where that was a little confusion. Here, using this, we can know what are all under the terms page. And let me take this one. Not the text field. Let me remove this field. Let me add the normal text. If you look at here, the first page, the master page follows, and then the barcode and the item details, and then the header and the sold to party. If you see here the terms and conditions, I just have pasted. Let me little expand it. If you see here, this is a little format, and with orientation as a landscape. Now the data is added. If you see at the end, that the data is being cut, because it could be allow page breaks in between, and this also should have the same thing, allow page breaks within the content. Yes, I think this time this should be working, and height also expand to fit, and width also expand to fit. Now I hope. We'll have. Now we got 1 of 5, and 2 of 5, 3 of 5, and 4 of 5 are nothing but the other format, letter with the landscape. So this is how we can use multiple master pages. This is a master page 1 and master page 2. This is what we can add we can play with multiple master pages. But thing is, the body page, whatever we are designing it, and we have to be little sure the pagination where exactly we want to fill this page. By using a body page 1, this is by default following the main master page. Whereas coming to the master, I'm putting this one into content area 2. content area 2. See, there are two things now. There are multiple master pages. There can be multiple master pages, and as well there can be multiple content areas on a single master page. Let me try that one too. Let me remove the master, this one. I just did so. Let me insert content area. If you see here, I have added one more content area. I am setting the content area 2 properties. Let me select the first one as well and reduce the coordinates. My content area 1. This my body page follows this one, and whereas I want my terms and conditions to follow into the content area 2. Let me give a try how it appears. Okay, and there is a little to play around. On a single master page, we do have the body to fill the previous one, and instead that fill only into content area 1. This will make that data print only on the previous one, and after that filling go to the content area again 1. For this body page, I'm everywhere telling to go to print in the content area 1, and for the next terms I'll be telling to go into content area 2 only. Let's give a try. There are many possibilities here and there, but many of them were not needed for me. Oh my god. No, I just mean to tell you, like, we can use different pagination properties to flow the data across multiple master pages or the multiple content areas. But 99% of the cases we won't be using these cases, and this goes for a complex scenario. And whereas the previous one I'm telling single master page and single content area and one body page, it simply goes on following information. This is what mostly 90% of the cases will get that. That is sufficient. And whereas multiple master and multiple content area, this is a little this thing, not needed much. So I hope I have covered the most of the topics. Let me
Can we go on page last few lines? Can we set the footer?
Yes, we can do so. We can do so. Footer, right? Footer is the one. I missed it. Header we did so, and the footer as well.
Footer, it comes in the last one, so something like that.
Yes, footer as well. Yeah, if you look at this one, insert the standard. We'll have a page numbers. This page n of m. This I am putting onto the master page. Let's see here. See, if you see here, this is page 1 of 6, and page 2 of 6, page 3 of 6, just like so. We can work with the footers as well. And the only thing is, if we want some to be only on the last page, what I am not covering in this session is events. There are events that is also 1 or 2% we will be needing them, and that is also very like on a last page we want footer, and on the first page in the following pages we don't want footer, only on the last page we want footer. Like that cases we may have to do little, see that we will keep the text here. Let me show that. Insert the text field, where am I? Sorry, I'm missing.
You show it, right? We can play with the master field.
Yeah, we can play with that. Yep. Let me put text field here. See, the thing is, on my master page, I'm putting a field. Only footer on last page. See, what we do for this one, we do have a script editor. We have to select the particular script editor. We will have a form ready, layout ready, events, and if you know JavaScript, and we'll put a code like if next page not equal to 0, something we have in SAP script or smart form site. The same way, then we say present equal to true, this field, and end if. What happens? The particular field, if the next page, if there is no next page, then only the field appears. We make that field into present. This is how with little scripting, we can get that done. But the scripting and all, maybe 1 month later, like so, I'll take one more session on that. But to begin with, whatever we covered, I think that is good enough. Yeah. For the beginning, what I suggest, take these into consideration. Play with these fields around. Text fields, logos, addresses, barcodes, standard text, and application text, and the tables. Yeah, tables. Yeah, tables. Nothing but the subforms. I mean, the font. Then for the events, we can go for another session maybe 1 month later. Any questions?
Do you have any idea of digital relation?
We have to do little R&D. Yeah, Brian, I'm done with it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you doing that. If anybody else doesn't have any questions, I guess we'll go ahead and end the call then.
Yeah. Drop me email if need. If you stuck up somewhere, for something, you can drop me a mail. I can show over the mail where exactly you can go to the particular point and fix it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, and thanks everybody for attending.
Yep. Thanks, Brian. Thank you. Bye.